Brothers and sisters, Brother John, watchman for that great day. The following video is something that is so important to our research and understanding as far as end times is concerned and what the beast that is rising is all about. I would like to present this to you for your thought and your study, and whatever the Holy Spirit might lead you and give you in what He is saying. I will be pausing this through the video. I want you to listen, watch his facial expression, his hands, his body language. This man is the president designate of COP28. It's just very interesting, and I thought you would be blessed to get an understanding of this man. Is Dr. Sultan Ahmad Al-Jaber. So without further talk, I'm going to start the video, and I'll be pausing it and interjecting ideas through it. So let's watch together.
In new and innovative ways on the critical issue of climate finance. In my meetings with climate, finance, development ministers and others across the global south, what I hear time and again is that climate finance is simply not available, not accessible, and not affordable, which is why we need tangible progress this year. It has to happen this year.
Notice it's got to happen this year, and he's in 2023. This was recent, and so he's really defining that it's got to happen this year. This is the start of the 7-year period, 2023.
On reform that will unlock far more concessional finance, mitigate risk, and attract more private capital. And governments...
Notice it's all about the money. We need more private capital and governments to fulfill their responsibilities.
Who have made commitments to vulnerable and developing countries.
So he wants the governments to, their commitments to be fulfilled in these developing countries. Wait till I get to the part where I'm going to bring in AMOS. It's going to bless you.
They must live up to those commitments. And they must start delivering. They must show action. The poorest nations make up over half of the world's population, yet account for just 12% of global emissions. When 800 million people have no access to energy,
that's 800 million people have no access to energy at all.
Behind these numbers, you know and I know, are real people. Those people want, in fact, they deserve a better life for themselves and for their families. If the world doesn't come up with effective mechanisms to deliver climate finance to developing and emerging economies, they will have no choice but to choose a carbon-intensive development path.
Now wait, didn't he just say that there are 800 million people? There's only the poor. Basically, he's talking about the poor, and the poor only produce 12% of global carbon, the global carbon offense. Just listen.
This is an outcome we want to avoid simply because it is in no one's interest.
And notice it's the poor people, the underdeveloped nations, that he's wanting to mechanize and to have the technology to reduce the carbon footprint, and yet these people are only 12%. All right, 12% of the world's carbon footprint, or okay.
Colleagues, COP28 must also provide tangible solutions to help people adapt to climate change and manage growing climate impacts. This is why we will be the first COP to dedicate a day to health.
Listen to this. They're going to dedicate the first, this is the first COP. Notice it's interesting, the word COP, most of us grow up in America, you know what a cop is. Cop is a policeman. And so it's just interesting. We know it's the conference of the parties, but COP is interesting, like a world police, okay? They are going to be, I'll bring it back a little bit, to COP 28.
The first COP to dedicate
this is COP 28, he's talking about November through December 12th, and they're to dedicate
a day to health,
a day,
and the first to host
health,
a health and climate ministerial,
and to host a health and climate minister. Notice how we just put a connection to health care and also connecting to the climate, and it's a ministerial position. All right, so a health and climate minister that will be established at this COP 28.
and we need to broaden our definition of adaptation to enable global climate resilience.
Notice we need to adapt to enable this global climate, listen to the word, resilience.
Transform food systems
What?
and then
Food systems,
enhance forestry land, land use, and water management.
And water management. So you have the land, the water, and the food. Very interesting. And they're, you know, it's just funny because I think at this point, it's not really funny, it's just interesting. But when I heard him say some of what he's saying, they're looking to make the poor equal, all right? So in other words, to make the equal playing field, right? Where no one is, you know, people living in the United States shouldn't be making this much, you know, and shouldn't be living at such a high standard when the rest of the world is suffering. And the idea is, let's level the playing field, bring the poor up, right? But yet the rich down. So the idea is there is no rich or poor. That's why you'll own nothing and love it, okay? And like it, all right? But this is all about a monster, about a beast that looks and seeks to control the earth, all right? They worship the creation more than the creator. So listen a little more here.
COP28 will also be a space for innovative solutions for nature. We must continue to safeguard natural carbon sinks like rainforests and mangroves.
So they're talking about as well as DNA and transforming what God has made into more of a powerful, let's say, by man's hand, messing with DNA and making greater trees and more sustainable, let more, you know, give more oxygen to the air, of course, but to reduce the carbon footprint, but yet control the people that are making carbon. It's just such a backward thing. Anyway.
Protect biodiversity and work closely with indigenous peoples to help preserve natural ecosystems. Indigenous peoples represent 5% of the global population, but protect 80% of the world's biodiversity. their voices must be heard, and their contribution to the climate challenge must be recognized.
Or rewarded, let's say. And so therefore, what are they doing ultimately? Let me read Amos chapter 8. It's chapter 8, verse 4 and down. Hear this, O ye that swallow up the needy, even to make the poor of the land to fail. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to lift these people up, but they're basically doing something. Watch what it says. Saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the small, making the container, making the ephah small, and the shekel, or the dollar signs, or the whatever, the money system, blockchain in this case, making the shekel, making the shekel great, and falsifying the balance by deceit. That's exactly what they're going to do. This is all about money in the hands of a group, of a beast, if you will, and controlling that said money. That's where the CBDCs come in. That's where the tie into digital currency and blockchain is all. Right? That we may buy, listen to what else it says, that we may buy the poor for silver. You see, they're trying to bring the poorer nations, the underdeveloped nations, up to the standard and pay them to be stewards, in a way, of what they now are over, which is 80% of the underdeveloped world, all right? But only producing 5%. So, and the needy, they're gonna buy for a pair of shoes, yea, and sell the refuge of wheat. It says in verse 7, the Lord has sworn by the excellency of Jacob, surely I will never forget their works. Shall not the land tremble for this, and everyone mourn that dwelleth therein? For it shall rise up wholly as a flood, and it shall be cast out and drowned as by the flood of Egypt. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord God, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon. What day is that? Could that be COP? I'm just offering a suggestion. COP 28, which starts November 30th and goes through December the 12th. Just a thought. The rapture could very well happen any moment now. But when the sun will go down at noon and God will darken the earth in the clear day, that, my friends, would be at a time when Daniel 9:27, or an agreement with many, was confirmed or made stronger. The word is abar, and the word is to strengthen. Something that already exists is the Laudato Si, which was signed in 2022 of January, and is basically what? February, March, April, May. January, February, March, April, May. There you go, about 5 months into it right now. So it's an existing treaty, an existing covenant, an existing agreement that already exists, and it was the Laudato Si, which is out of the Vatican, which has connecting into the Abrahamic Faith Initiative, and it all ties in. This is the timing of what we're looking at. And so there's an existing agreement, covenant, that will be strengthened in November. Now, whether we're here to see that, that's another story. I don't know. I'm hoping we're out of here today. I'm hoping we're out of here this week. So the Lord's going to make the sun go down at noon. He's going to darken the earth in the clear day. And he's going to turn your feast, is what it says, and I will turn your feast into mourning, and all your songs into lamentations, and I will bring up sackcloth upon all loins, and baldness upon every head, and I will make it as the mourning of an only son, and the end thereof as a bitter day. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread nor thirst of water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. And that's exactly what this system is doing. Basically, they're looking to man for the solution, and they're worshiping the creation more than the creator. The different things we see through the projects that are going on. So I'll let it play a little more. This is a very interesting video.
Our high-level champion, Her Excellency Razan Al-Mubarak, will focus and give special attention on putting people and nature at the center of climate progress. In addition, this COP will put a special focus on empowering youth, and as the first officially designated youth climate champion.
All right, so now we're officially designated a youth climate champion, which is a woman.
Her Excellency Sham Al-Mazroui will mobilize substantive policy and programmatic outcomes for the young people. Under her leadership, in collaboration with Yongo, we will ensure that youth, particularly from small island states and the least developed countries, participate meaningfully and effectively throughout the full COP cycle and activities.
Which is, of course, for the next 7 years. Actually, a little more, because they have a little more than 7 years until December. But this is all very interesting. Remember, this COP, it was started by King Charles, right? It's his baby.
This is a feature that we hope will be incorporated in all future COPs. Our International Youth Climate Delegate Program is the largest initiative to expand youth participation from underrepresented countries in the climate process to date. This is not a record we want to hold. It is a record we want to see broken, and I hope it happens in the future COPs. Your Excellencies, colleagues, and friends, before I conclude, I just want to take a moment to recognize the people in this room alongside the efforts of many outside of this room.
Of many. Of the many, okay? There's the people in the room and the people outside this room, the efforts of many. He shall confirm a covenant with many. This group, this COP, the head of the COP, which is this president designate, and the King Charles. All right, that's what's going to happen.
Many of you have devoted your entire careers to public service and the cause of climate progress. It has been a long and hard journey. At times, I have no doubt, it has been frustrating.
Sure.
And I feel your frustration.
They're bringing about a 7-year agreement, brothers and sisters. This is it.
But we also remember the breakthroughs. We remember the outcomes of Paris.
That's right. We do.
We were all there in Paris at COP21 when governments united in agreement. We must aim to make COP28 be remembered for uniting everyone in true action. And this year, the year of the global stocktake, we have an unprecedented opportunity.
Notice what global stocktake is. Global stocktake is, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. What is global stocktake? Global stocktake is a party-driven process conducted in a transparent manner and with the participation of non-party stakeholders, that's the rest of the world, that enables countries and other stakeholders to see where they're collectively making progress toward meeting the goals of the Paris Agreement. This all ties into Laudato Si and the future COP28 and the last 7-year covenant. And where they are not, it's like taking inventory, brother and sister. The world, the people in it, those who are not stakeholders are the stock. All right? They are taking inventory. They are finding out who will be with them and who will be against them.
To turn policies into practical outcomes. Let's please put an end to delays, and let's please start delivering real results. Let's turn passion into pragmatic solutions. Let's end polarization and empower partnership. There are moments in history when humanity comes together to fight a common threat.
Do you remember the time at the UN back in the day? There was President Reagan was standing there, and he said something like, how quickly, I might even add that into this video if I can find the clip, would we come together as the world if we were threatened from an outside alien invasion? And that's what I thought of when I heard him say this. How humanity comes together to fight a common threat. What is this common threat? And the common threat amongst all, according to them, is this carbon footprint that all people put out, and that we don't have enough, it's food and all the things. So they're saying they want to basically hybridize things, make them better and stronger, so the output of they're trying to make what God created better. And what he made was perfect in every way, shape, or form. God saw it and it was good, is what Genesis says. So let's just leave it at that. We know where they're going. We know what this body of people is all about, and it is the beast that is rising.
And advancing humanity has always been one of the core principles of our leadership in the United Arab Emirates. We have chosen to face global challenges head-on by adopting a positive mindset and working on solutions in the pursuit of progress and prosperity with like-minded.
Progress and prosperity. Isn't that interesting? Could you say peace and safety? Could you say, peace and safety, when they shall say peace and prosperity, right? Yes.
Partners. And it is this mindset that we will bring as hosts of COP28.
Notice it's as hosts. Interesting, because I want to read something from Daniel, chapter 8. Hold on, let me get it over here. It's Daniel chapter 8. Chapter 8, 23. In the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, that would be the people of that kingdom, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. When that happens in the latter time of this group, which would be the last 3.5 years of their 7-year agreement, his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. Okay? Spiritually, demonically, as he is entered in and becomes the son of perdition around the midpoint of this coming 7-year agreement. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and holy people. That's the midpoint, because that's the one that will destroy. And through, listen to this, and through his policy. What are they planning? What is all of what he has just said? These are policies. These are governmental policies and agreements. And through his policy, this group's policy, the Antichrist policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. So there'll be prosperity through this mechanism, through this group, but it destroys. It destroys. And he shall magnify himself in his heart. That's where all this is going. The pride of man's heart. The pride. And by peace, okay, by peace shall destroy many. The many. He shall also stand up and to the prince, against the prince of princes. Who is that? That's our Lord. But he shall be broken without hand. Hallelujah. And the vision of the evenings and mornings which was told is true. Therefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. At the time of Daniel, this would be many years from the time of Daniel. But this is now happening right before our eyes. And so another thing was they what he just said in this last thing is it is this mindset that we have, that we will bring as hosts of the COP28. And here's something in the earlier part of Daniel chapter 8, back in like 11. And speaking of the Antichrist, the little horn, yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of hosts. And that's the prince of hosts. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. Here's where I wanted to get right here. And the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of the transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground and practiced and prospered. But this one verse right here, and a host, he just said the mindset that we will bring as hosts of COP28. In verse 12 it says, and a host was given, who? The Antichrist, him, was given him against the daily sacrifice. When that time comes, there's a host, there's a group, there's a beast, there's a world government body, a group of people against the daily sacrifice. Now, interestingly enough, you can look at that word, you can look up daily, you can look up sacrifice. It in the Blue Letter Bible, it suggests employment. Okay, so it's a daily employment, an everyday thing. You show up. And a host was given him against the daily employment by reason of transgression. What is the transgression here? That they're purveying this lie about the carbon footprint of all people and many, and trying to bring them all into one place, right? To compile all their stock. They're trying to take stock of all the many, of all the people that will or will not. Okay? And that ties right into the mark, and all the rest of this is, it's just all interesting. So we'll go on with the video.
We believe that game-changing solutions can be achieved if the collective political will is there.
Notice it's the political will. So we're talking about governments. If the governments fall in line with this, then the collective, they can achieve, right? They can achieve their goal.
I promise you, it is certainly is from the United Arab Emirates. Let's unite in solidarity for the sake of humanity. Let's live up to the responsibility that we have been entrusted with.
Notice it's we have been entrusted with, right? So It's not that it's a bad thing to take care of the planet, but it's the way they're doing it is all involving the governments of the world and the people, all right, and to control ultimately what the people do, and to have one common cause, which is the world, the earth that we live on, and furthering it, and taking care of its people, right? But they're doing it in a diabolical, hidden, beast-like way. It's the only way to say it.
And let us restore political credibility to the legal agreements that we have not yet fulfilled.
So they want the governments to fulfill their responsibilities in this effort. Okay, they've promised, pledged different amounts and monies, and this is the group that is drawing in the money. Okay, that is probably hooked to the IMF. It's hooked into central banks. It's hooked into the World Bank. It's all about the money, as you learned in one of the King Charles' speeches before he was king, about the trillions that would be at the disposal of this group, all right, which is all the people that are going to sign on, which is 198 countries of the earth, of the world, to an agreement, all right, to this new global Green Deal is what it is.
I am counting on your experience, your engagement, your positivity, your energy, your ideas, and your continued commitment. From my part, I commit to matching your effort and your dedication every step of the way.
So he's just agreeing with all those that would fulfill their pledges and promises, and he's backing you up, okay?
Let's work together to deliver an ambitious agenda and a practical and action-oriented GST for 2030.
GST, Global Stocktake for 2030. That means get all the cattle, get all the sheeple. Anyone that will join will be in by that time. And look, they're pushing hard, and they know they have little bit of time. They've got this 7-year thing that's coming up. It can be that it doesn't start until December. But it looks like they're moving forward on it because they know that they have a short time and they need to implement things very quickly over the next few years, and to have them moving along by the time 2030 comes. So here comes the next 7 years.
Together, let's deliver a COP of unity, of solidarity, and impact. A COP of action and a COP for all. And let's unite a divided world for the planet, for our people, and for lasting sustainable development.
There you go. So the lasting sustainable development for 2030. Let's unite. Let's drink. Notice he said 3 cups. Okay? Let's drink of the cup of sustainable development. Let's join hands. Let's get a ministerial position for the youth and for health and for land and for water. It's like a czar over all of what mankind has, and that person, minister, well, there'll be many antichrists, but there is one that the head will be. And we're heading that way, brothers and sisters. So keep looking up. This is just a thought-provoking video. And if you listen to the wording and watch his expression, his body language, I think you'll get a lot out of this as far as what's coming. All right? The beast is rising. God bless you all. Brother John, watchman for that great day. And the blast. God bless you, brothers and sisters. Hope you enjoyed the video. Love you. Brother John, once again, watchman for that.